Hey everyone, welcome back to the AI Automation. In today's session, we are going to learn one of the most important OOPS concept in the Java, that is abstract class. So we are going to understand what is abstract class, why do we need it, and how we can use it with the real-time examples in the automation framework. An abstract class in Java is a class that cannot be instantiated directly. Okay, so it can contain abstract methods, that means methods without implementation or methods without body, and it can also contain non-abstract methods, that is normal methods which will have some implementation. So if you see, normal class in Java will have some methods, and all those methods are implemented one. Okay, all those methods will have some body. But in case of abstract class, it can have normal methods as well as the abstract methods. Okay, so abstract method, that means methods without the body. So the main purpose of this abstract class is to provide the base class, which will define a common structure shared among the subclasses. But the implementation of this common structure or common methods will be specific to the child classes. Okay, they can implement as per their requirement. So towards left hand side, we have the test1 class, which is a normal Java class which contains two methods m1 and m2, and both m1 and m2 have the body. That means both methods are implemented one in the normal Java class. Towards right hand side, we have the abstract class test2. So this test2 class I have created with the keyword abstract. That means this class test2 class is the abstract class in the Java. So this test2 class contains m1 method, which is a abstract method. Okay, abstract void m1 round bracket semicolon. So this m1 method is not implemented in this abstract class. Okay, there is no implementation, there is no logic for this m1 inside this abstract class. And m2 method I have implemented in the test2. Okay, so one abstract method and one normal method in case of abstract class. Okay, so what is the difference between normal class and the abstract class? So a normal class can be instantiated. Okay, whereas abstract class we cannot instantiate it. Okay, we cannot create object of the abstract class. All the methods from the normal class are implemented. But in case of abstract class, it can have some unimplemented methods as well along with the normal methods. And similar to the normal class, abstract class can have constructor, it can have variables of different types, it can have concrete methods, that means methods with the body as well. Now let's see valid and invalid example for the abstract class. So this is the valid example of the abstract class in the Java. One is abstract method and another one is normal or concrete method. Now let's see the invalid example. In the second example, I have just created public class test. Inside that class, I have added abstract void m1 method. Now I have not declared this class as abstract. I have directly written public class test. Okay, I haven't used any abstract keyword. So this time you will get error because class must be abstract if it has one abstract method. Okay, a normal class, if it has one abstract method, then we must declare that class as abstract. Otherwise, you will get the compile time error. So in the Java, if class is abstract, it is possible that it have zero abstract method. Okay, it is completely valid. But if a class contains single abstract method, then we need to declare that class as an abstract one. So related to the variables for the abstract class. So for the abstract class, we can create instance variables or you can create static variables as well. Okay, so like a normal class, you can have static and non-static variables in the abstract class. So for the same class, I can have constructor similar to the normal Java class. So using this constructor, I can initialize this instance variable while creating the object of the subclasses of this abstract class. Okay, so that's why constructor is required. So advantages of the abstract class. It provides code reusability. So whatever methods we add, whatever common methods we add in the base class can be reused in any of the child classes. It provides flexibility for the child classes to implement their own methods as per their requirement. Third advantage of the abstract class is it helps in achieving the abstraction in the Java. So abstraction, that means we are going to hide the implementation and only show the functionality. So now let's see the complete example of the abstract class. Let's say I created abstract class parent. This parent class contains three abstract methods, method 1, method 2 and method 3. Okay, all these three methods are abstract. That means those will not have any body. Now who is going to implement these three methods? So subclass of this parent class has a responsibility to implement all these three methods. Okay, so for that purpose I created a public class child1 extends parent. Okay, so child1 is extending this parent class. So it's compulsory for this child1 class to implement all these three abstract methods from the parent class. Otherwise you will get error. So in the first example, I have written public class child1 extend parent, and inside this child1 I have implemented all these three methods from the parent. Okay, so now this child1 class is a normal class. It is not an abstract class. It is just a normal Java class. In the second example, what I have done is child1 class extends this parent and I am just implementing only two methods from the parent. And third method, method 3 is not implemented by the child1. So in that case, you will get error. Okay, so whenever you are creating the subclass of the abstract class, you must define all the methods, all the abstract methods from this parent class. Okay, so it is must condition for child class to implement all the abstract methods from the parent. Otherwise, you can declare that subclass as a abstract one again. Okay, so you can write abstract class child1 extends parent, and then inside this child1 class we can implement one or two abstract methods. So whatever unimplemented methods are from the parent are now responsibility of the next subclass. So I can make this child1 class as an abstract class now, and I can implement only two methods from the parent class. Similar to this abstract class child1 extend parent, it is implementing method 1 and method 2 only. Okay, method 3 is not implemented here. Now whose responsibility is to implement method 3 now? So if you create the subchild of the child1 class, then it's responsibility of that subclass of the child1 class to implement the method 3. For example, here class child2 extend child1. Okay, so child2 is the subclass of the child1. So child2 must implement method 3 because child1 is already implementing the two methods from the parent class, method 1 and method 2. So child2 must implement unimplemented method, method 3 from the parent class. So in the runner class, we need to create the object of our final subclass in our structure. Okay, we cannot create the object of the abstract class. So we cannot create object of this parent. We cannot create of the child1 class also because both this child1 and parent class are abstract. Okay, and both this abstract class cannot be instantiated. So to call this method 1, method 2 and method 3, we can create the object of the next child. Okay, final child in our structure, that is child2. So in the runner class, I can directly use parent obj is equal to new child. Okay, so here we are using the polymorphism concept in the Java. Here I am creating the object of the child2 class and I am using reference of the parent. So using the same object reference obj, I will be able to call method 1, method 2 and method 3 in the runner class. Okay, so this is how abstract class works in the Java. So if a subclass doesn't implement all the abstract methods, then it must also be declared as a abstract. So the final concrete subclass must implement all the remaining abstract methods before we can create the object of that class. So now let's see one example where we can use this abstract class concept in the Java in our Selenium Automation Framework. So in the automation framework, we need to initialize our WebDriver first. So depending upon our requirement, we can run our test case on Chrome, Firefox, Edge or Safari browser. Okay, so our first step is to set up our WebDriver. So for that purpose, what I have done is inside the base test, I have created one abstract method setup driver. Okay, so I have kept the setup driver method as a abstract one. So as this method is abstract, I need to declare this base test as a abstract class. Okay, so abstract class base test contains abstract void setup driver method. This base test contains one more method, tear down. So using this tear down method, we are going to close our driver. So for implementing this setup driver method in the base test, I have created three subclasses of this base test class. So as per our requirement, I need to run my test case on the Chrome, Firefox or Edge. So for that purpose, I created three subclasses. First is Chrome test. So Chrome test extend base test, and inside that class, I have implemented this setup driver method, which is abstract in the base test. So inside this setup driver method, inside the Chrome test, I will add steps to open my Chrome browser. So whatever capabilities I need to set, whatever setting I have to add, I can add inside this method. Okay, so this method simply open the Chrome browser. Similar to this, I created my next child, Firefox test. So class Firefox test extend base test. So again, Firefox test must implement this abstract method setup driver from the base test. So inside this method, again, you can add steps to launch the Firefox browser. And similar to this, we created our third child, Edge test extend base test. And we implemented this abstract setup driver method inside this class as well to open our Edge browser. So in this example, what we have done is we have created an abstract class base test with the method setup driver. Okay, this is the abstract method. So each browser like Chrome, Firefox, Edge has its own subclass that is implementing its own method. Now inside the test runner class, I am taking the browser name as a parameter. So this parameter can come from the configure properties file or even from your Jenkins job parameters. Okay, so based on the browser name value, I can assign the reference base to the respective browser class. So using the different if else condition, we are creating the object of Chrome test, Firefox test or Edge test. So whenever you want to run your automation on the Chrome, we will simply set browser equal to Chrome. So using the first if condition, if browser dot equaling our case equal to Chrome, base is equal to new Chrome test. So here we are creating the object of Chrome test class, and we are using the reference of the base test class. Okay, so once we created the object of the browser class, at the end, using this object reference, we are going to call our abstract setup driver method. So if base is referring to the object of Chrome test, it is going to call the setup driver method from the Chrome test class. If base is referring to the Firefox or Edge, it is going to call this setup driver method from that particular browser class. So the important point here is I am using the same reference base of type base test to launch different browsers. So this approach is going to keep your code very clean and avoid the duplication. And it is very easy to scale if you want to add more browsers in the future. So overall framework design becomes more cleaner because common rules are set up in the base test class, and browser specific code like whatever setting you want to do, it can be isolated inside the child classes. So this is how you can make use of abstract class and polymorphism concept in the Java in our automation framework.